This presentation will share my findings of my action research project supporting English learners through multimodal and inclusive practices. The purpose of this study was to examine how virtual teachers perceive and implement multimodal instructional strategies to support English learners. My aim was to understand how these approaches can promote inclusive, student-centered practices that enhance engagement, motivation, and academic achievement. To guide the study, I drew on several key frameworks: the cognitive affective theory of learning with media, the control value theory of achievement emotions, universal design for learning, and the least restrictive environment principle. English learners in virtual K-12 settings often face unique barriers to equitable learning. These include limited opportunities for differentiated instruction, inconsistent use of multimodal strategies, and an over-reliance on tools such as Google Translate that don't always support deeper language development. My study focused on how teachers perceive and apply research-based strategies in their online classrooms, while also identifying barriers like lack of resources, collaboration, and professional preparedness. My study was guided by 3 research questions. First, how do virtual teachers perceive multimodal instructional strategies for English learners? Second, what barriers and successes occur when implementing these strategies? And finally, how might professional development and collaboration strengthen inclusive practices in virtual classrooms? Both quantitative and qualitative approaches were used in this study. For the quantitative methods, I distributed an 8-item Likert scale survey to 4 certified virtual teachers. Their responses were analyzed in Excel to calculate averages and identify trends. For the qualitative methods, I included open-ended questions in the survey and also conducted a semi-structured interview with a 22-year veteran teacher. Responses from the survey were thematically coded to capture challenges, strategies, and best practices for supporting English learners. The qualitative data came from both the short answer survey responses and the veteran teacher interview. Several themes emerged. Teachers highlighted the importance of effective scaffolding, collaboration with EL specialists, and the value of culturally responsive strategies. At the same time, they pointed to significant barriers such as student reluctance to communicate, rigid virtual course structures, and an over-reliance on translation tools. These findings highlight both strengths in current practice and areas needing systemic improvement. The survey results provided useful numerical insights. Teachers showed the strongest agreement on the importance of scaffolding, culturally responsive design, and promoting student autonomy. However, the weaker areas of agreement were professional development opportunities, access to digital tools, and collaboration with colleagues. These results suggest that teachers are committed to inclusive strategies, but they need more resources and training to implement them consistently. This study highlights how multimodal strategies not only reduce cognitive load, but also foster great engagement for English learners. By incorporating non-linguistic representations, such as visuals, diagrams, and models, teachers can make abstract concepts more concrete and accessible across language barriers. Additionally, activities that emphasize identifying similarities and differences allow students to compare cultural perspectives, academic content, and real-world experiences, which deepens understanding and critical thinking. Inclusive practices continue to expand access for English learners, particularly those with IEPs, while culturally responsive curriculum ensures both equity and motivation. Finally, professional development and collaboration remain essential so that teachers have the tools and support to consistently implement these strategies with rigor and responsiveness. These are the key works that informed my study and guided the analysis. They include foundational theories, studies on multimodal instruction and inclusion, and my own action research project.